Welcome to PhD with Women on IT, Hack the Future. My name is Beata Young, and today's PhD Positivity Hack delivered will be by our guest, Christian Lovrecich. Let me remind you, this is a grassroots community that focuses on women on IT, an inclusive forum of women in technology, startups, and female leaders who are supported by men as well. And I bring heart to that hustle because empathy is my motto, and empathy is critical when you are monetizing as a content creator. In today's episode, we are going to learn how do you monetize as a content creator. So Christian, tell me, where in the world are you today?
I am in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, USA. The Venice of America, that's what they call it. The Venice of the United States.
How appropriate for somebody who's of
Italian and Venezuelan,
Italian.
yes. I know.
Exactly.
I like the water. I can't get away from it.
There you go. So with the swift digitalization of business processes, there are many online media platforms available where we can promote our products and services, which brought us to this point where content creation can now be monetized, unless it's down, like with Facebook. Even big companies have joined this trend. Their ads are all over our feeds, whatever social media platforms we use. So how do you monetize as a content creator? In this episode, we are going to look at entrepreneurship, advertising, and digital media. Christian is your go-to guy, as featured in the Wall Street Journal among other publications. He's currently on a mission to help businesses scale from 6 to 7, 8 figures or higher, harnessing the full power of Facebook ads through innovative marketing strategies. And if Facebook goes down, Christian is enjoying his JOMO moment, joy of missing out.
Yes.
Let's join the discussion and ask questions together. We can hack the future. So, Christian, I'm sorry if I said your surname wrong. Is it Lovrecich?
Lovrecich. Everyone messes it up. It's okay. Trust me. It's okay. It's not an easy one.
I know it isn't. So what did you do during your JOMO, joy of missing out, when Facebook went down?
I actually worked on other stuff. We talked about it earlier. I have, brands of my own. So I was working on some other stuff that needed to be done on that end on our website. I mean, the reality of it is I call it the beast, when the beast goes down, it's out of our control. There's nothing we can do. So, if you can't be in there playing around with ads manager and working on ad campaigns and optimizing and all that good stuff, you divert, your attention to stuff that needs to be done that usually gets put on to the end of the day or whatever. Trust me, I kept myself busy. I mean, I was joking around. It was a snow day, but it was just like a more relaxing day for myself because we're not dealing with the ads side of thing, but other stuff that we have to get done.
You mentioned that now the damage has been done because we had this kind of slowing down of us, but really the damage is the algorithm need to catch up with all the backup. And can you delve a little bit into
absolutely.
this issue?
So this is what people don't think about. When a company like Facebook goes down, it's not just Facebook. It's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, their audience network, their virtual reality stuff, and then their internal headquarters, software as well. That's how they communicate. Facebook, what is it called? Work, I think it's called Facebook Work. So that's why no one could get back in the building. And there's all this conspiracy theories coming out and, all this stuff. And it's like, no, people, they just basically disappear from the internet. And the only way to get back in is someone had to go physically to one of their data centers in California to pretty much turn it back on. It's funny how that works. But so what happens is Facebook, as a platform, between all their apps, they have over 2 billion users. I mean, just let that sink in. Billion with a B, 2 billion users. And I don't even know, I've seen the numbers, but I can't remember top of my head of how much stuff is being uploaded to the platform every second. But I do know for a fact that while it was down for 6.5 hours, they were losing around $200,000 a minute. So that gives you an idea how much
Mm.
money they make on advertising. But what really hurts is that people don't think about is once the whole platform goes down, you got to remember this is an algorithm that's driven by multiple server farms and computers to keep it active, and they only, the processors are only fast, so fast, right? So when they turn it back on, Facebook is starting from zero. So now the algorithm has to make all these calculations of what to show on your feed, upload everything that got stuck when it went down, all the new stuff that's being uploaded as soon as it comes back up. And then the algorithm on the back end for the ads platform has to optimize back from zero on who to show those ads to, how to spend the money for the day, how to allocate, how to pace for the day, and find those users that you're looking for to complete the objective that you're looking for. For example, someone that purchases something from your website. So we're going to see the damage. I mean, as an end user like yourself, you're not going to see anything. But on the ads platform side of things, we're going to see the damage drag on for at least a couple of weeks until the algorithm catches up.
Some people went into TikTok, others said, oh, I'm going to Twitter. So what would be your advice in case something like that happens again?
I mean, you should always be diversified when it comes to your business. So, I mean, you should be using other platforms. And if you're not using them, always have them as a backup. A lot of people like to use Twitter. A lot of people like to use TikTok. YouTube. The reality is that, I mean, I preach this about all the time. It depends to where you're at in your business. If it's just you can't do all the platforms all day long because then you will never get anything done. So I always talk about grab one platform, stick to it, and then and then that's it. If you need to go to Twitter just to communicate with your people, do that. But the most important that you can have as a business owner or quote unquote influencer is to have an email list. Email, you can always upload an email list to any other service out there and send an email out to communicate with your followers or your customers. So that is the most important asset that you can have in a business, believe it or not.
So traditional emailing is the way to go. Also, I'm thinking about, you talked about the funneling and diversifying and so on, but really, is there a way to prevent that from happening by creating or replicating the content that you created for one platform? And if so, what would be the best way, the best practices?
I believe every content that you create should be native to that platform, meaning that if you create a video for Facebook, it's not going to work on TikTok. It's a completely different audience. So I wouldn't recommend copying and pasting into other platforms. And that's what I recommend people, especially if you're starting out, stick to one platform. And listen, the people that really have to worry about Facebook going down for 6.5 hours along with Instagram and all their apps, are people who are running ads. And most people who are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a day, they've already diversified. They're not just relying on Facebook for their sales. So most people just took it up as like, hey, it was just a bad day. It went down and happened. Sales are down. We'll make up for it when it comes back up. I mean, that's the way you got to look at it. There's no reason to freak out and it's the end of the world, because it's not, So if you're already doing other platforms, then keep posting there. If you're not, maybe it's time to start setting up a second one, if you really need it. But you should always have an email list or phone numbers, you can send a message out, a text message out.
So we've got a first question from Olga. Olga, great to see you. If you are starting out as a content creator, what is the best platform strategy? Single platform, multi-platform, and if so, which platforms and why?
It has to be the platform that you feel most comfortable with making content for. Okay. So let me give you an example. I know that if I write a blog, I can get a lot of traffic to my sites and all that stuff. Now I got people who do that. But when I was starting out, I knew if I wrote a blog with certain keywords, I can get more traffic to my channels and all that. But I'm not a writer. When I was starting out, if you put a blank piece of paper in front of me and say, just write, it would take me hours and hours and hours and hours, right? So my platform is YouTube, because I can talk for 10, 20 minutes, and it just comes out naturally, like I'm doing right now. I can just get in front of a camera, microphone, I can just talk about whatever I'm thinking about. When I start I get writer's block right away. So blogging is not for me, but video is, and audio, like a podcast. So if you feel comfortable creating, TikToks, then go for it. All in on TikTok. If you feel more comfortable doing lives on Facebook or Instagram or pictures on Instagram, then by all means go on all that. But the worst thing that you can do is try to do all platforms at the same time when you're just starting out. Pick one, go all in, and post 5 times a day, and you will grow. And once that's handled, and if you start making money, you can afford a team to help you, then you can start diversifying your content. I hope that answers your question. That's how I did, and that's how I would do it. I'm still not on every single platform, believe it or not, and I've been doing this for, I don't know, over a decade.
You can't be good at everything.
You can't.
But on the other hand, that's a good opening line for another question. Let's say that your clients are mostly on TikTok.
Mhm.
I don't like TikTok. How do I break through?
How do you break through if you don't like TikTok? I can tell you right now, your clients are everywhere. I mean, it's just going to be different of the approach that you reach, how you reach them, right? If you don't like TikTok, then at that point, you're going to have to figure out a way to make some content for it where you're not involved. Just because you create content doesn't mean that you have to be the face of that content. For example, I have a secondary YouTube channel that no one knows about, where it's just content related to comic books and stuff like that, and they're 10-minute videos, and I have a whole team that just puts the videos out like 10-minute documentaries, but my face is not in it. But I know my audience is in YouTube, and that makes money for me in a passively way, but I'm not involved with it with my face in it. So there's ways to create content where your face doesn't have to be in it. So that's why you got to get creative if you don't like TikTok. I love TikTok as a user. I love using it. Sometimes I catch myself scrolling for way too long, but one, I don't have the time to sit here and create 22 TikToks a day. You know what I mean? So this is why I stick to my platforms, and trust me, people will find you depending on what you do. Once you create enough content, if you're good at it, people will find you, because everybody has an account. Listen, 17-year-olds still have a Facebook account. They don't go on it much, but guess what? They go there every once in a while. And that day that they might go, to check for something, Facebook will serve your content if it's good enough to that demographic. So they'll find you whatever you're at.
If it's good enough, but also if you pay, right?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, if you're good at what you do, you can take advantage of organic, reach. But you really got to know and understand how these platform works. The problem is people don't take the time to read how these algorithms work, how they work. And believe it or not, they all tell you how they work. Like Facebook will put out a statement at the end of the month, like, this is what we're working on. This is what the algorithm is favoring right now. Like, it was announced, I think it was like a month or two ago, that Instagram, that they were pushing Reels to compete against TikTok. So guess what? If that's what they're pushing, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to create Reels all day, because I know I'm going to get more reach creating Reels, because that's what the algorithm is pushing at the moment. So they actually tell you, all these platforms tells you, it's like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're pushing. This is what you should be doing. And the problem is most people don't take the time to do that. And knowing how they work at a very basic level, all the algorithms work the same way. It's like you put out a video, you put out a post. If it gets engagement right away, then the algorithm is going to push it up to the second level. If it keeps getting engagement, it will get pushed to the second level. So you got to have a great hook right at the beginning, so it hooks people and makes them interact with it. And then if it's good, the algorithm will push it. I mean, that's how some videos go viral,
Just like the book of the Bible of marketers, Jab, Jab, Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. Yep. I just wanted to also ask you about this latest announcement about ditching IGTV. What does it mean for many creators on Instagram?
Instagram is one of those platforms that when Facebook bought it, they just try to do too much with it. And it's all over the place. It's like every time a competitor will come out with something, they were like, okay, we got to compete with Snap, so let's do stories. Or, let's try to make long form video. And then you had to download a secondary app for it. it just, I feel like Instagram lost its core use, which it was like sharing pictures about your life and maybe a little bit of video, like a short video. And then, but like everything else, they were testing it. They have all the data on their end, so they're testing it. And after a while, they're like, hey, it's not working. Let's ditch it. People want short videos that are 3 minutes long, and they know that. So they're like, let's not waste our time with it. And it just goes away. And then people are doing reels now to compete against TikTok.
Okay, we jumped from topic to topic. Let's go back to the basics. How to monetize on your content. Let's say I've been creating content for 6 months now, and how to start and getting the money out of that content.
It depends. I mean, it depends what kind of content you're doing. If you're just being an influencer, let's say somebody who, let's say, people like to make fun of, quote unquote Instagram models, but the reality is a lot of them make a lot of money. And the trick here is, there's a saying by marketers, and we've been saying this for a long time, riches are in the niches. So the more niche down you are with your content, the easier it's going to be for you to monetize. What do I mean by that? So let's say you have a page about dogs, right? You want to do a page about dogs, right? A lot of people like dogs, right? But if you have a page about Frenchies, now you're hitting that super passionate demographic, and it's going to be easier for them to find you. And now you can create merchandise specifically for that audience. Okay, that's if you want to go the e-com route. If you want to be just an influencer, then you got to pick a topic, maybe a sub topic. Like my topic is digital marketing in my channel, but my sub topic is Facebook ads. That's my main topic. So anybody that goes to my channel, they're searching for Facebook ads, and they're going to get information about Facebook ads, right? So once you choose what your topic is, you have to cater to that audience and keep talking, just look at what people are searching for and create content around that. And then what happens is, once your following starts growing, after you figure out what the algorithms are pushing, if you're not putting money behind it, people like me are going to start reaching out to you for product placements. We start with micro influencers, and then we move to macro influencers. Micro influencers, anybody who has between 2,000 to 5,000 followers, which is not that hard to get to if you really put in the work for a little bit. You know what I mean? So once you get to that, people are going to start reaching out to you. They're going to start sending you free stuff. And then the more followers you get, you're gonna start knowing your worth, because people are gonna offer you money. You can Google it. It's like, how much do I get paid if I have 1,000 followers, or through that, and just, you got to know your worth. So it's like, okay, at first it's only going to be free stuff, right? For product placements as a micro influencers. But once you reach like between 5, maybe above 10, that's when the money starts to play in. And that's where you got to do your research on how many, the way that I like to think about it as an advertiser is like, one of the metrics that we look at on paid advertising is cost per 1,000 CPMs, right? So if I can reach 1,000 people for $30 with my ads, that's basically the math that I'm going to do with you as an influencer based on the followers that you have. So if I'm paying $30 for 1,000, how many followers do you have? And that's how I'm going to price it. But everybody's CPMs are different. So just to give you an idea, that's what you got to go by. But the more you grow, then you up your price. Okay, well, you want me to take this picture, leave it on for 24 hours? Are we doing story placements, or are we just doing it for a few hours, 3 posts a week? It really depends. But that's how you start. People, trust me, if you're niche down enough, people like me are going to start reaching out to you for product placements and all that good stuff, advertising.
Now, does it make sense for everybody to create a Facebook group as well as the Facebook page or the landing page, or it doesn't make sense to everyone? What's your take on that?
Group is not necessary. Believe it or not, Facebook groups are a lot of work, and the reach on those it's really down. It's really not worth the trouble to deal with it. So I wouldn't say so much a group, unless you have a huge following already. Then yeah, bring them over to your Facebook group. But if you only have like a few thousand people, it's not even worth. I'm telling you, 99% of them are not going to see your post in the group unless they get tons of engagement. But you definitely should have every social page ready to go. Like all my social pages are claimed by me. Some of them don't have anything in them, but I own them. You know what I mean? So have something in there just so you have an online presence.
Mm, good. Aika is asking, hi Christian, which works better for a brand that's starting going viral or slowly and consistently building one's brand identity?
It's a good question. So, okay. So viral, you can control. Okay. No one has the perfect formula to going viral. If someone did, they will be like trillionaires by now because they'll be doing it every day. Now,
Mm,
there's formulas for marketing where we can predict that we might get good results, but we still don't know if it's going to go viral. Okay. If you're starting out and you're in e-commerce, right? Like physical products that you have to get from a manufacturer, I'm telling you right now, the last thing you want is for your brand to go viral because it's going to break your supply chain. You're going to run out
mm,
of products, then you're going to have to put in an order, and then you have no control over that traffic, right? If you go viral, you have no control over that traffic unless you just put sold out in the on the store, and then you're going to miss out on tons of sales and emails and customers and all that stuff. So the last thing that you want is to go viral when you're first starting out. You definitely want to go slowly and consistently building your brand, because I'm telling you right now, especially if it's your first brand, you're going to run into so many issues that you never thought that were going to come up, that you're going to have to fix stuff constantly. We were just talking we were talking about this. I just launched my fourth brand last year, and yesterday I was dealing with a bunch of stuff that came up that I just have to deal with it, and I've been doing this for a long, long time. So you're always going to have to deal with issues, and especially in those first 6 months to a year, stuff is going to break left and right. You're going to find out issues left and right. You're going to have supplier issues, manufacturing issues, SOP issues. So definitely when starting out, don't don't go viral. Start slowly and work your way up with traffic slowly.
mm. Also, I would say that if you focus only on going viral, you lose control of what is really the value you want to bring. You focus on things that are maybe not so important. It's really what kind of value you can bring to your audience, I would say.
I'll give you a small, example. And this has happened to many colleagues of mine. It's happened to me a couple times, where I will be talking to, well, not anymore, but back in the day when I used to deal a lot with manufacturers in China, I'd be like, hey, we're going to scale the ads. How many pieces we have? And, they hear that every day. So they take it for granted. They're like, oh yeah, we got plenty. We have like 10,000 pieces. I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. I'm going to scale these ads. Like, how fast would it be to get the rest? Oh, we can get them in 1 or 2 days. Not a problem. And the naive person that I was back then, I scaled the ads like really hard. And what I mean by scaling the ads, it's like, I know it's working. I'm just going to dump all my money in it and, open it to the rest of the world. And next thing you know, we're getting thousands of orders a day.
Mm,
So what happens is then you get the email 3 days later from the manufacturer in China, whatever you're at, and they're like, we ran out of product and we don't know when we're going to get more. So now
mm,
you have a bunch of thousands of angry customers that are not getting their product in time. And now you have to deal with all the customer nightmares that come with that, like customer service. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can completely destroy your business. So this is why you always want to take it slow and make sure you have inventory at hand. That's the biggest recommendation and advice that I can give you.
mm. So, explain to us what does it mean scaling ads? So you've got a client and you start the campaign, and how do you approach that first client?
So when you're running a campaign, and this is on any ads platform, but let's say you put out a new product, right? And it's whatever, a dog toy, and all of a sudden you're getting sales, like daily sales. And let's say you're spending $100, right? And you're targeting, I don't know, moms in the US that own a Frenchie.
Mm,
um, you started getting the consistent sales all day long, and then after like 3 to 4 days, it's getting, the sales haven't stopped, right? And you start seeing the feedback in the comments and the likes and the shares, and that's what we call a winning product. Now we know we have a winning product. So what we do at first, it's like, okay, let's launch a new ad set or a new campaign. Let's try these different audiences and let's see if they buy the product as well. If we launch those ads and they start selling the same for the same cost or lower cost, then guess what? Now we know we really have a winner. So now, if you're someone like me who knows what they're doing, especially on Facebook, now I'm going to deploy I'm gonna throw as much money as I can to the platform and diversify between a bunch of different campaigns so I can dominate the market and the auction. And at that point, it's you're selling, I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces a day, because if you can ship all over the world, you can open it to the rest of the world. So people have no idea how big e-commerce is just in the US, but then the gravy, the icing on the cake is like once you open it to the rest of the world, it's unstoppable. I mean, the amount of there's so much money to be made. It's crazy.
Mm. And also, you have got your recent business. It's a fashion business. Can you tell us a little bit about the
Yeah.
co-founder, how she approached you?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you a story. So I just launched my fourth brand. I built multiple ones, and I exited the other ones. And this is what I call the last one. This is going to be the big one. So, which is probably not really the last one, but I know the potential is huge. I already see it, so it's gonna be pretty big. So it's in the fashion space, and the way it happened was she was one of my clients, and then I found out she was making these products, and I'm like, "Hey, you never." She was doing a live on Facebook selling them, and I was like, "You never told me you made this stuff." She's like, "Oh yeah, totally. I've been doing it since forever." And I was like, no, stop right there. Stop right there. I was like, listen, we've already worked together in the past. Let's do it. Let's take this to the next level. I'll put up the money. I'll set everything up. All you got to do is you just keep doing what you're doing. And you just got to listen to me. And I promise you, I'm going to change your life. And she said yes on the spot. I told her what I wanted. And then she's like, yeah, fair enough. Let's do it. And that was it. We signed the papers and got started. And it's like, she's honestly like one of my best partners. I have a few partners, and she's like, oh my God, she works so hard. And I can't say enough good things about her. I call her my work wife. She calls me her work husband, because like we just get along perfectly, and we're both, very hardworking people, and entrepreneurial side that we have, that drive that we have, it's equal, and we both work as hard, and she's amazing. She really is. I couldn't do it without her. So.
So I hope we're gonna have your wife on the live stream as well. Let's move into question from Marianne. Question from Marianne. Hi, what can you say about Patreon? Do you have Patreon on your content?
I don't have one. I've heard of it. I know what it is, but it's just, again, it goes back to what platforms you feel comfortable on. Listen, my YouTube channel is monetized. I mean, I don't, it doesn't make me like all this money. It's just, I get rewarded for what I put out there, but I could easily put my whole YouTube channel into a course and charge $5,000 for it if I decided to wake up tomorrow and take it down. Like, I know how valuable all those videos are, and there's nothing like it out there. But some people, yeah, I mean, people who have like, they want to monetize their followings with like, PDFs with advice or books, or a lot of these channels on YouTube, they're reaction channels where people like listen to music and they react to these videos. That's how they make their money, because it's all copyrighted stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against it. It's just not for me yet, at least. I mean, I never say no or never. It's just not right now for me. I mean, that's as far as like my knowledge of it goes. I really never looked into it, to be honest with you.
Are you planning to release your NFT?
No, but I have tons of NFTs. I bought a bunch, and one literally paid for all the mistakes that I made already. So I'm happy about that. But one day I'm sure I will do an NFT. It's a lot of work. And this is when it comes down to, which I suffer from, like a lot of people out there, entrepreneurs, what we call shiny object syndrome. When you see something new, a new technology or something, you want to jump on it right away. And once I started getting into it, I'm like, I'm going to release my own. I'm going to start doing it because I'm thinking dollar signs right away and how early, I am. But then I'm like, no. Slow down. You already got this, you got that, you got this, the new brand. It's in that point where it's like scaling. You need to concentrate and one thing at a time. NFTs are not going anywhere. I can, with the knowledge that I have, I can jump in it at the right anytime that I want. And if I'm gonna do a project with NFT, I want to do it right. I just don't want to put just what do you call it, some random drawings out there or whatever. I want it to be like a real good project that is valuable for people. So I'm not just gonna jump on it just to do it.
Mm. Well, I've seen a project, I think last week, which was basically NFT of cat butts. So you had
there's everything.
lots of cats, and people buy this stuff.
Yeah. People, you'd be amazed of what people buy when it comes to NFTs. I mean, the best advice that I got when I started dipping into it a while back was, just buy anything that you're into because you're going to own it. So I only took that with a grain of salt. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy what I like, but I also know it's going to make me money at some point. So I look at the team who built it. What's the roadmap? What are they planning for the future? I'm not an NFT expert by no means, but I've been, involved for a little bit. And I can tell you my favorite ones are art that looks super cool. And then as a bonus, if they're going to develop it into if it's usable in the digital world, like a game or something like that, you know what I mean?
Fantastic. As a serial entrepreneur myself, I can sympathize with your approach. We've got another question from Princess Tani. Hello, Christian. How to deal with negative reviews on the content? Should we just ignore it?
I am the worst dealing with that. Listen,
tell us.
You read it, and then if you're me, you're going to be like, curse up a wall, like, are you kidding me? And then that's it. But ignore it. You can't take it personal, especially like I take it as well, it depends. There's YouTube, and then there's like products. So product reviews, I know that my products are good because we really do quality stuff, right? So there's always going to be one that's never going to be happy no matter what. So when that 1-star review comes back and that your product is good, then that's what I call just brush it off. Give them their money back and send them on their way because nothing's going to make them happy. Now, the 3-star reviews or the 4-star reviews or maybe even the 2-star reviews, those are the ones that I pay attention to because that's feedback to my brand, if it's a brand, right? That they're telling me that they don't like something about it. People that give you a 3-star review, they're what I call level-headed people. They'll be like, oh, I like this about it, but I didn't like this, or this happened to it after I had it for X amount of time. At that point, it's feedback to you and how to improve your products or your services, right? So you take that as feedback. YouTube, I'll ignore, 99% of the negative comments because people on YouTube, they're just whatever, but some of them I do pay attention to. I read all of them. Even though that sometimes I'm like, but I just forget about it a couple hours later. I don't just sit there and dwell on it. And I take it as feedback. Oh, maybe I should try to do that in the next video. The level-headed ones, but the ones that people are just being, rude. It's like, just ignore it. Who cares? I know it's hard sometimes, but just try to ignore it or don't read them. Some people don't even read them. So.
That's a good approach. With some comments, there are so many naysayers out there. I think we should just
haters make us famous. That's my favorite saying.
There you go.
It's engagement. We like engagement.
I know, absolutely. The more, the merrier. Olga is asking another question. Isn't it a huge risk to base a content strategy on just advertising alone? Doesn't that place you at the whim of the platforms who can often change their minds on what they want to see, tolerate, or even encourage? That's more kind of a question about algorithm, yes?
No, she has a good point. I mean, you shouldn't listen. Back in the day when I started, it was so cheap to advertise on Facebook, and and it was so powerful because not all the big brands were there, right? So we would put literally $5 a day and make $2,000 back on a T-shirt. It was crazy. We called it the gold rush. So at that point, organic didn't really matter because with just ads, I mean, it was insane. But you're right. I mean, you should always, if you really want to build a real brand, you should always start with organic, proof of concept, make sure your stuff sells. And then once your organic is built up with, content and SEO, if you're doing SEO, Then you add advertising to it to pour, gasoline on the fire and take it to the next level. That's the way you do it nowadays, because it's not Facebook. It's not like it used to be where you spend $5 and you make $2,000 back. It's expensive now. So, and yeah, you don't want to risk it to one platform either, especially now with the whole Apple privacy deal. If you can you should always try to diversify a little bit. But I can tell you right now from experience, the one that's always going to give you the biggest return at the highest scale is going to be Facebook, still to this day, even though it's more expensive.
Even there's so few youngsters on.
Yeah, I mean, they just have so much data. You can't compete. Even Google. I mean, Google ads do really well, but it really depends on the product. But Facebook is super powerful. It still is. So, I mean, I call it the evil empire at this point. Listen, they really make me mad sometimes, and I've tried to diversify as much as I can, and we always end up going back to Facebook with the most of the money goes to Facebook because the biggest results are there.
In Love and in Pain has got a question, but before we go into In Love and in Pain, let's go into the content again. So monetizing as a content creator, do you have some influencers you are advising, or is it based on your influencer experience?
No, I don't do consulting for influencers, but we do use influencers for brands and, for client brands and my own brands in the past. Like we're actually about to we're developing one for the new brand right now that we're going to launch next week. But I mean, I don't do like consulting for influencers or anything like that. I mean, if you go on YouTube, I talk about it here and there, but it's very basic. Like I wouldn't call myself like an influencer expert. You know what I mean?
And your channel is our
Pixel
content.
Feed. Yep, Pixel Feed.
Pixel Feed.
Yeah, PIXLFEED. Just search that or my name on YouTube. It'll come up. And I think I just hit 250 videos, and I just launched it a year ago.
Wow.
A lot of videos is going to be Facebook ads, but there's stuff about Instagram and, digital marketing, copywriting, digital sales, and all that good stuff. So anything about digital.
And how do you keep up with all the things that are changing in the advertising world?
It's my world. I'm there every day, I'm part of two masterminds for Facebook ads where, you pay to be part of a special group of people that spend the same amount of, money that you do on Facebook ads. And then you're at the same level. So, that's how we keep up with what's going on in real time. Then, again, keeping up with the platforms, whatever they release. We have reps that tell us what's coming, what's happening, what's changing, so we always know what's going on. And then reading, I follow certain people that give me, information on what's going on as well. It's not just straight from the platforms. So look up who's the biggest expert in your field, and follow those people. You know what I mean? And you'll start to keep up with that. But the biggest thing that took me to the next level always have been masterminds on what I do. Same people that do what you do, and they're passionate about it.
So who's your mastermind? Who do you follow?
The mastermind, they're private. So it's like private groups that were formed by colleagues of mine. So like, it's not like anybody can go search it and join. Like you have to be invited to it. I just follow the people in my industry that you guys wouldn't know about. It's just people that are inside, Facebook, names that you never heard of that are engineers, and and then I follow the usual business people like I do all my life, just because to keep my ear out there, like, Elon and Cuban and Steve Jobs when he was alive, and people like that. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Peter Thiel, when it comes to tech, I mean, he's amazing,
Cool. And Christian himself is definitely somebody you can follow and learn from. So let's go into the question from In Love and in Pain. Many influencers got destroyed for a single thing they do. Should our contents be censored?
Oh man, you're asking the wrong person that, because I'm not part of this whole PC world. Like, I am not. The way I grew up, it's not like that. I respect everybody, no problem with that, but I think it goes too far sometimes for nothing. I think it's people love to see people get to the top and then bring them down, so people enjoy that, which is messed up. I would just watch what you do, stick to your values, whatever those are. Hopefully they're good values, right? And you care about people just like I do. But just be careful of what you put out there. If you have to question yourself on what you're putting out there, then don't do it. That's not a good sign. If you're already questioning yourself, that it's probably you shouldn't do it. But if for some reason, you get caught up in this thing where you put something out and the whole internet jumps on you because of XYZ, you know what? Just chill, roll with the punches, ignore it, disappear for like, a month, 2, 3, depends how bad it was. And then just come back up and people forget about it. They'll move on to the next shiny object that they see. Don't you see like celebrities, they hang on for like, a couple months and then they destroy them. And then next thing you know, they forgot about it. They come back 3 months later. It sucks if you go through it. I'm sure I've never been through it, but that's what I would do. I would just hide for 3 months, just do whatever I got to do to survive, and then come back 3 months later and people forget about it. They really do.
Mm. I think what really helps is a pinch of empathy. If you think about other people more than about just yourself, it definitely helps. So, Christian, I wanted to ask you, how did you start your business? I mean, was it just a spur of a moment, or were you fascinated by what's happening in the social media world?
It's actually kind of a long story, but I'll give you the short version of it. So I had my first brick and mortar business, but I grew up always with little things on the side, like businesses on the side, selling things here and there. My first brick and mortar business was when I was 23. It was in the car restoration business, and then I had it till 2009. That's when the economy crashed in the U.S. and I lost a lot of money. I was dumb. I was in my 20s. The information that we have now wasn't back then. I didn't play my cards right, and I went down with the economy. I had to stop everything I was doing. So I took a year off and to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And it just so happened, I always wanted a website. I remember saying, I want a website. I want a website. This is when it was like really hard to build a website. But, I didn't know how to make money online. I had no idea. And then I got a job with a marketing company here in Florida. And that's how I started learning about SEO and paid advertising and stuff like that, just until I figured out what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to keep burning through my savings. You know what I mean? And I started learning from that. And then we had a falling out. They owe me some money. I was like, screw you. I'm going to start my own and bury you. And I did. And it did well. And then I got bored with it. And then I started learning I came across this little course that was $300 by someone who's now my friend, Don Wilson, when Facebook ads first became public. So still to this day, I will tell you, those are the best $300 I ever spent in my life, because that opened the doors to like the world of knowledge that I'm part of now. And, it started with one store, then it was 2 stores, then 3 stores, many failures along the way. But I just stuck to it, kept going, and it just kept evolving, So, and here I am. I never stopped learning. Basically, that's what it comes down to. But a little bit of luck too, because I was part of that gold rush, that it was easy to get in and make money out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you saw the potential and definitely jumped on it. So what advice would you give to other females to help their career or start entrepreneurial journey?
Patience. I mean, it sounds corny. I know a lot of people say it. Patience, believe in yourself. Listen, there's days that I have my bad days and I doubt myself. And then, and then it comes back the next time. I'm like, dude, you've been doing this for 10 years. You know better. Like, it's not you. It's, things that can affect you. So patience, believe in yourself. Don't care about what others think about you. I know it sounds super cheesy. I know like a lot of people say, but you have to stop caring about what other people think. Like, people thought that I was nuts when I was trying to make money online. Even my parents. I had friends my best friend who's a financial wealth advisor. I have friends who are doctors, and they thought I was insane. Facebook's not going to last another 5 years, and here I am. So don't listen to your friends. If you really want to get real opinions, ask strangers. They'll tell you if your product sucks, but don't listen. For the most part, don't listen to anybody and just do it. And if you fail, you fail. You're going to fail. The most successful people in the world fail too. You just don't hear about it. And the cool thing is, when you fail, it sucks, I'm very hard on myself. So I get really mad at myself and kind of depressed. But then, I get over it. And then, you'll be amazed like how years ahead have passed. And then you look back on that failure. And guess what? You're not going to make the same mistake again because you learn from it. So take it as a learning lesson. Really do.
Mm. So how do you deal with that self-doubt and, depression or feeling stressed out?
Um, when I was younger, I would just, South Florida, I would just go out drinking and having a good time. And then I would just stop thinking about it, but don't do that. It's just think about it. Just think about it, but don't let it get to you. I would just basically distract myself. But because I'm very hard on myself. It's just people are different. And I'm the type of person when I fail or do something wrong, I beat myself up for days, weeks, sometimes, it could be months, but that's just the way I am. Not everybody's like I am. So I would just try to put it in the back burner, think about what mistakes I did and make sure I don't make them again. But, go work out, go distract yourself, do whatever it is that you listen. I'm 41 now. So the whole partying and drinking, that's been over for a long time. I can't do that anymore. you know,
Oh, come on. I'm
I
older
still
than
have a few
you,
drinks here and
and
there,
I
but
can see you.
the brunch on Saturdays and then keep going all day, end up at the beach at the end of
Yeah,
the night. I can't do those
yeah.
anymore. Those are too rough on my body now.
Oh my Lord. Where is your Italian spirit, Christian?
Trust me, the spirit's there. Physically, I just can't take it. It takes me a week to recuperate.
Oh, absolutely. Jamil is asking us, hello, Christian, how can content create trust? Because you know it only when you see it.
That's a good question. How can it create
Mm.
trust? You have to be honest in what you do and make sure you're giving away value, in whatever your expertise is. And trust is going to come from people who start listening to you and, maybe they apply what you're advising to them and then it's real and it works. And then that's a natural trust that's going to be built over time. I get messages every day from people. This is, like on YouTube, like, oh my God, you helped me so much to like scale my store, or I finally started making money. And, people, if they like you, they're going to follow you and they're going to listen to you. Listen, it's better to have 1,000 followers that are super passionate about what you do and they're hardcore fans of you than have 1 million followers that are bought and they don't care about you. And trust me, if you keep doing it and you put it out there, your content's gonna be build trust with people when they start seeing the results that they get from your content. But it doesn't happen overnight. Listen, my YouTube channel, I'm gonna tell you right now, it took me a year before it even got monetized or to get 1,000 subscribers. But I kept doing it. I kept putting out 3 videos a week, no matter what. And it's hard and it's a lot of work. And at first it doesn't pay off, but trust me, once it starts picking up and the algorithm starts showing it to the right people, you'll see a line of exponentially of growth just like that. It's gonna be crazy. So just stick to it and the trust will come naturally between your audience and yourself.
Stick to it and be patient.
Yes. And trust me, I had my
Christian,
days. So I'm like, oh, like when am I gonna
oh,
get my 1,000 subscribers? It's
oh,
like
exactly. Speaking of,
it's normal.
I noticed that you do not have really a special link. I mean, we just plastered your link, and it's not really a specific name. It's a lots of digits and
Oh, the
numbers.
YouTube link, yeah,
Yeah,
because this is what happens when you set up a YouTube channel. They don't let you change it, and then it. I think you got to get like 100 subscribers or something like that to
yeah.
change it. And at that point, the link's been shared all over the place on blogs and everything from people sharing the videos that if I changed it, I would have lost all the organic SEO on it. So I was like, I'm not touching it, which it
Oh,
makes no sense because I'm like, I wish they would let you do it from day one.
mm, yeah.
Yeah. But
Alas,
trust me,
alas.
just search my name on YouTube and you'll find me or Pixel Feed. It'll come up.
Exactly. So, what's the secret sauce of having that content that people are going to click on YouTube?
There's no secret sauce. It's a lot. I mean, there's basics. I can give you the basics, what's worked for me. And I know it's worked from other people from everything that I learned. You got to have a good hook. My channel is very hard to come up with hooks because it's not something that it's an everyday type of deal. It's very specific to Facebook ads. So anybody searching Facebook ads, I'm going to come up with a few other people that started before me. But the trick to YouTube is to have a thumbnail that really grabs attention. That's why you see the thumbnails with what I call everybody making a stupid face, like that, or like shocked. You know what I mean? For some reason that works. I tried doing normal thumbnails and no one will click through it. As soon as I change it to something like everybody's clicking
Mm.
on the thumbnail. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. So thumbnail is very important. Make sure it's very attention grabbing. If you look at my thumbnail, it sticks out from everybody else that does Facebook stuff. Everybody uses a lot of colors and stuff like that. Mine are black and red, and I'm always wearing the same thing. The reason for me wearing the same thing like I am right now is so I don't have to think about it. Because if I have to think about what I'm going to wear on YouTube that day, I will waste 3 hours of my day to make sure that I don't wear the same shirt, the same graphic t-shirt twice in 2 videos. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear all black and then I don't have to worry about it. I learned that lesson very quickly. The title, the main thing on YouTube is the title. So make sure it's a catchy title, like kind of like clickbait, but don't make it
Mm.
fake, because if it's fake, then they're going to click into your video. And if they don't stay, YouTube doesn't like that. And then they won't push your video. YouTube likes it when people watch at least 40% of your video. So make sure that the title is the real thing related to the video, but you can make it clickbait if that makes any sense. Like, here's the biggest secret to make $1 million on Facebook ads. Guess what? A lot of people are going to click on that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So like stuff like that.
Mm. So you monetize on content created on Facebook, but you put everything on YouTube. Why is
Well,
it this way?
personally, here's the difference. Like, okay, so I have my brands, my e-commerce brands. All those, it's organic SEO, content, Facebook ads, okay, and Google ads and all that stuff. That's paid. My personal brand, to give you guys an example, how I monetize my personal brand is YouTube, because I'm putting the content out there, right? That's my social proof for my agency that we know what we're doing, that I know what I'm doing. So clients come to me, it's like, hey, I saw you here, you know your stuff, can we work together? Blah, blah, blah. 2, the other way that I monetize my personal brand, it's just like I do in my stores. Guess what? If you go in my descriptions in the link and on YouTube, there's links there. If you buy any of those products, that's going to put you, I get a kickback. But those products, I really do. I use them. I highly recommend them, because I don't recommend anything that I don't use personally, or it does not help me personally. So if you get any of those products, it's called an affiliate link. I make a little bit of money off it from you if you buy it, right? So that's in the description. The other way that I make money out of it is you get on my mailing list if you decide, to join my mailing list, where I give out a bunch of valuable stuff all the time, just like I do on YouTube. And then, every once in a while, if I put out a product or whatever, I'll send an email. It's like, hey guys, I have this product, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll make money out of that. So the email list, the money's on the list. That's what I tell people all the time. But, most of my money comes from my brands, not YouTube with my email list yet. Because I just started a year ago organically.
Fabulous. Thank you, Christian, for sharing your wisdom with us. I just want to remind you that today's topic of discussion is how to monetize as a content creator. But don't forget to join us next week for the Word of Coding with special guest Sieda Kauser in Namdar. She's going to talk about her experience as a programmer. Let's go back to you, Christian. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to listen to your personal stories. I wanted to ask you about female entrepreneurs or female career-driven women. What would be your number one advice? What are the soft skills that they need to progress in this entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, so I don't know about 5, but definitely what you want to know, number 1 is sales. You got to learn sales. There's natural, you can be natural at sales, but I was always good at sales growing up, but I really took my sales skills to the next level by learning, from a lot of books out there like Tom Hopkins, Zig Ziglar. Those guys are old school. So definitely sales, because you're always selling yourself. It doesn't mean that you sell a product, but you sell yourself every day. When you meet somebody, you're selling yourself. When you're trying to close a deal, you're selling yourself. So sales is a must-have skill. Number 2, copywriting. You got to know copywriting. Copywriting is so powerful. And I can tell you right now, you can have the ugliest website in the world, but if your copywriting is on point, guess what? You're going to make a lot of money. So copywriting, well, even if you're not doing websites, guess what? You write emails. You know, if you're trying to do business, you're writing emails. So copywriting, you got to know copyright so you can incorporate your sales into your copywriting, and it's very, very powerful. Um, Problem solving. I mean, that's going to be, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, that's going to be your number one skill. You got to be able to, know how to do research, how to find solutions to the problems. When something comes up, you can't just freak out and freeze. I know people that just freeze and they just sit there. It's like, oh, they just sit here until it fixes itself. Guess what? It's not going to fix itself. So you better learn how to use Google and learn how to use it really well to find the solutions to your problems. So those three for sure. Those are my three. I don't know about five, but those three for sure. I can't think of any other two.
Bravo. Amen to that. So selling, copywriting, and problem solving, and being able to cope with changes like Facebook going down. Christian, what would you say is your life lesson quote, and how did it change you in your life or at certain stage of your life?
Well, the first one of the many lessons my dad taught me, and the one that stuck with me, in the entrepreneurial world, is hire slow and fire fast. And that couldn't be any more truer. It's like the last thing you need is somebody that creates problems in your company or your team or whatever. Because guess what? That negativity is going to spread quickly because people love drama. It's in our human, brain to love drama. So you don't want what I like to call a cancer going out and affecting your team. So if you're having problems, don't think about it, twice and fire them. But take your time to hire someone so you don't have that issue. So take your time hiring and fire as fast as you can if there's issues that you need to deal with.
Fabulous. And what about your book that you wished you could read it when you started your career? Is there number one book that you could recommend to our viewers?
There's so many. Number one will definitely be Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's to get that mindset that anybody can get money. The money's out there, you can get it, but you got to develop the mindset for it. You got to start thinking in a different way, not as a consumer. Once you change your mindset and your mindset changes, then that's when you're going to start seeing what I like to call the matrix. And then you're going to see things very different. I wish I would have read that book when I was younger, because I was, especially, young people now with Instagram and all that stuff and people flexing on social. Like I used to be very gullible with that stuff. And if my mind was different back then, I would have been a lot more successful, a lot quicker, instead of chasing, the newest car, sports cars and all that stuff. I was chasing the wrong thing. You got to develop a wealth mindset. And that's the book that's definitely going to do that. And there's another one called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that one's definitely going to change that mindset too. So those two books to start for sure.
And they will help you deal with your self-doubts, and you don't have to go to party because you know your worth.
Yes, exactly. Know your worth.
There you go. So let's go into the pandemic question. Let's imagine the pandemic is over and you can invite any person in the world to have private breakfast with anywhere in the world. Who would you invite and where would you go to?
Well, one, I wouldn't go to breakfast, but there's a reason for that. Definitely Elon Musk, because he's like so perplexed with all the stuff that it's an enigma. Everything that he's doing, it's just the guy's on another level. So I would love to like talk to him and just getting his head of how he thinks about things, because I mean he's a genius. But I wouldn't go to breakfast. I would rather go have drinks at one of those like secret speakeasies. You know what I mean? We have tons of them here in South Florida where no one knows about it unless you know the password to get in. And like very quiet, very low key, and just have a couple of, scotch or something and just have a talk over a few drinks. That's what I would love to do, for real.
So what would be to talk about?
My first question is like, how do you come up with all this? I'm not going to say the word because I don't know if I can curse here, but you get the idea. Like how? Like, how? Like, I just want to know how. And I'm sure. I mean, he's a natural. Obviously, the guy's a genius. But I would just love to see how his mind works. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
the way
mm.
he thinks. I would like to figure out the way he thinks, which I'm sure I can't. But at least to hear it from him himself. You know what I mean?
Totally. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are heading down to a number 34 PhD being over. It's Wednesday, 6th of October. It's hitting 6 p.m. here in London, 7 p.m. wherever in Central Europe you are, or Europe anywhere. And we are finishing this lovely chat. Thank you so much, Olga Vasina, Veronica, Marianne, Princess Tani, and Loving in Pen, and Jamil for joining our discussion with Christian, our social media expert, Facebook advertising expert, entrepreneurial expert. The numbers are endless. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in raising every time we fall, as said by Confucius. I would like to remind you that to stay updated and ensure you never miss a positivity hack delivered, follow Women on IT and turn on notifications on any social media streams you follow us on. When you focus on the positives get more positive, and you don't have to remember that self-doubt you're facing. As always, our positivity quote comes from Positive Thinking Only and goes, look for something positive in each day, even if some days you have to look a little harder. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Enjoy your JOMO. Enjoy whatever you're doing in life, just like Christian is serial entrepreneur. He's enjoying setting up new businesses, chatting to entrepreneurs all over the world, including maybe one day Elon Musk. I wish you
Never know.
great success, Christian. And I'm hoping to hear about your new brand, because that sounds very exciting, and we wish you to succeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.